I'm at the theatre super early today because I went to the Japanese embassy this morning to file my visa application. I've had to leave my passport there for the next 4 days, which does terrify me a little bit. Handing over a document as important as my passport feels a bit scary. They've also given me a collections receipt for when I go back and pick it up to prove that it is my passport. Like when you check your coat at a restaurant or a hotel or something and you're given like a little ticket. I'm terrified I'm gonna lose it. And I'm in the theatre so early. The cleaners are still in my dressing room. So if you hear noises, that's what it is. I asked you guys on Instagram for theatre-based assumptions. Okay, here we go. Everyone is very serious before a show / backstage. This couldn't be further from the truth. It depends. There are some actors who I've worked with who like a little bit of space and just a bit of time in the wings before they go on, which is like totally fine. But the majority of actors are having a laugh and having a good time backstage, chatting to each other, literally up until the moment we all run on stage. The time that we're at our most serious is probably opening night or that first week when the stress is a bit more heightened because maybe we don't quite know what we're doing yet, or we haven't got used to the routine of a show. That's when we're sort of at our most focused. But then once you figure out what you're doing and you know exactly where you need to be and how much time you have for that quick change and where that prop is and exactly the line that you hear before you walk on stage, once you've got all of that completely figured out and in your body, you relax into the show and you can just enjoy every performance like it's part of your everyday routine. Ensemble members are jealous of the people playing the principal roles. This one came up a lot as an assumption on Instagram, and I find it really, really interesting. There are so many actors who don't want to play principals. They audition specifically for ensemble parts. There's this really strange idea that everyone who's in the ensemble auditioned for a principal role, and this is how someone worded it once on Twitter: getting an ensemble part is their consolation prize. That is not the case. There are so many people who don't want the stress and the pressure of having to sing a solo song every night, or their strength is dancing instead of acting and singing and they want nothing more than to be part of the big ensemble dance numbers. And even the ensemble members who do cover principal roles who one day solely want to play a lead, it doesn't automatically mean that there's any jealousy there. We all have a huge integral part to play in every show that you're in. Les Mis specifically, because it's such an ensemble driven show, all of the principals except for Valjean and Javert all play ensemble parts. So after I die as Fantine, spoiler alert, really sorry, after I die as Fantine, I get dressed into a barricade lady outfit and I go onto the barricade with like a dark wig on, and I'm part of the barricades, not as Fantine, just in the ensemble. So we are all integral to the show regardless of what part we play. But within any cast, within any show, everyone is important, otherwise they wouldn't be there. That ensemble part wouldn't exist if it wasn't important and didn't play an integral part in the show in its entirety. You have to be a size 0 to be able to get cast. I think I'm just the answer to that one. There are roles for every shape and size within this industry, and there are some roles that have typically been played by thinner people in the past, but there is nothing within the description of the character within the story in the show that demands a size 0 person to play that role. It could technically be played by anyone. For instance, Veronica Sawyer. Veronica Sawyer was originally played by Barrett Wilbert-Weed, who is quite a thin woman, but there is nothing in the description of that part that says that she couldn't have been played by someone like me, which is why I ended up playing her. You've all been to some really posh drama school to be where you are. Again, I am an example of that. I didn't go to drama school, but whenever I've said this, people have come up with the argument that I have a famous brother and apparently that's how I got into the industry, or I've had connections or whatever. So I'm not going to use me as an example. But Jamie Moscato, for instance, he auditioned for Spring Awakening in his teens before he even had a chance to go to drama school, and got the part and has just been working and auditioning ever since then. Or Harry Apps, who is currently playing Marius. Harry is 19 at the moment, and he got the part of Marius firstly on the tour of Les Mis through going to an open audition. Drama school is arguably the most conventional, direct route into the industry. It's never a guarantee, but it is technically the most conventional way to find an agent and therefore find work. But going to drama school is expensive. There are obviously scholarships that are available at various different drama schools, but I don't want anyone to lose hope because they are not able to fund themselves going to drama school, or they have parents who aren't willing to support going into the industry. There are various different ways into this industry, and I think as time goes on, it is getting more and more accessible and less elitist, I hope. So please don't lose hope if you are not able to go to drama school. You never go home and sing songs around the house from the show you're in. This is true. This is so true. I never go home and sing I Dreamed a Dream for fun because I sing it 8 times a week, or like this week where we have 9 shows, 9 times a week. It's also less about hearing those songs every day and therefore not wanting to hear them again. It's also just about saving your voice. When I go home, it's not like I go home and sing songs from Wicked or from Sunset Boulevard or any other show. I just go home and stum. I am quiet just because I sit and steam. It's not very well paid. This was also an assumption that came up a lot in different degrees. Money is a topic that everyone is very curious about within the theatre industry. A lot of people think it's as simple as if you're a big name, you get paid more. If you're not a big name, you get paid less. But there's so much that goes into how much you are paid as a performer. It all depends on how big the theatre is, because if the audience is bigger, you get paid a little bit more. What production company you're working for, if it's a very successful company, maybe you'll be a little bit luckier with how much you are paid. And of course it depends on what role you're playing. If you're playing a role that's on stage for 2 minutes per show, you're going to be paid less than someone who is on stage from start to finish. How much you get paid per week in a show is dependent on so many things. So much goes into it. And part of it could all just be down to how good your agent is at negotiating. To the assumption it's not very well paid, sometimes it is, sometimes it isn't. Sometimes, even if you're the biggest star going, the production just doesn't have the money to pay you thousands and thousands of pounds every week. Sometimes you just need to take a job because you desperately want to play that role, and it's not about the money. It can't be about the money because there is no money. Actors don't get nervous before every show. This is kind of true. For me, personally, I'm at my most nervous in the first week, like I said, when I'm not entirely sure of what I'm doing, and also when someone I know comes to watch the show. If I have family or friends in the audience, that's always going to make me nervous no matter what. No matter how well I know my role and my lyrics and my lines and what I'm doing, it's always going to scare me just a little bit. But aside from that, I kind of don't really get that nervous anymore, which is good, because I feel like this job would be way more stressful than it needs to be if I was getting nervous every single night. There's a separation between main cast, ensemble, crew, etc. There is no separation. Obviously, no matter what department you're in, you're always going to know your department more than you know other departments because you just naturally spend the most time with them. But there's, I mean, I say departments like main cast and ensemble. They're like, the main cast is the ensemble. Leads and ensemble are all part of the main cast, and there is no, there can't be any separation. There is no separation. But cast and crew, ensemble, principals, they're all integrated because we're all doing the same show. We see each other every day, we all chat. There would only be separation if someone was an asshole and decided to create a separation. The people that we see the least of is front of house, because we're backstage and they're front of house. So we're literally physically separated, which means we just don't see them as much. But there's not a separation because we don't like each other. You always get your hair and makeup done professionally. This is an assumption, again, that I come across so much. The show that I've had to do the most makeup on was The Addams Family. Wednesday had like a pure white face, lots of contour, big smoky eyes, fake eyelashes, purple lips, the whole shebang. I was taught how to do it by the designer at the beginning of the run. I was given like a template, like a drawn template on a face, on a piece of paper. But then I was left to my own devices once I had learned what I needed to do, and I did my makeup every day, which I really enjoyed doing because I know it sounds like really wanky, but it feels like part of the process of getting into character. For the most part, we do our own. And for Les Mis, I'm actually not allowed to wear any makeup. We are au naturel, plain-faced for every show. So we don't have to worry about that at Les Mis. You've never missed your entrance / cue to go on stage. I've missed my cue to go on stage once, and that was because our tannoy in our dressing room was turned down and I hadn't realised that the show had started. And this was back when I was playing Eponine. So at the beginning of the show, I'm in my ensemble outfit. I was a pea picker at the top of the show, and I heard the cue line for when I am meant to be getting ready to go on stage in the wings, and I had 3 flights of stairs to get down. So I absolutely bolted. I ran as fast as my little legs could carry me, and I managed to get onto the revolve just as it was turning, but I got into the wrong spot and I ended up next to Valjean in the farm, which is definitely not where I was meant to be. But that is the only time that has happened. I think that scared me so much that it has never happened again. You get put up in fancy hotels every city on tours. Now this was true with the War of the Worlds, because the War of the Worlds is treated like it's a rock tour, like you're a band going on tour. So the production company sorted out all of our accommodation and we all stayed together with Jeff Wayne, who wrote the War of the Worlds, and the musicians. We all stayed together. But usually on theatre tours like Chitty Chitty Bang Bang and The Addams Family, which are the only 2 tours that I've ever done, you are given a touring allowance, which is a certain amount of money every week to go towards paying for your accommodation, but you have to sort out your own accommodation. So if you're willing to spend more and go over the budget that they give you, you can definitely stay in swanky hotels. Touring allowance definitely doesn't cover it, so you will be out of pocket. Sometimes you luck out and you find somewhere that's like really cheap and really, really nice. And sometimes you find somewhere that's really, really cheap and really not okay, and there are bloodstains on the carpet and you don't know why. You get unlimited free tickets for family and friends. I desperately wish this was true, but sadly it is not. The usual is you get 2 complimentary tickets for press night, and then that's it. Sometimes you get cast rate, which is discounted tickets, but that depends on the show, the production, the company that you're working for. Sometimes cast rate can still be ridiculously expensive if you're in a very, very successful show. Currently, I don't have any access to cast rate. So if my mum and dad want to come and see the show, they are paying full price. And finally, sound number 3 is Ace. This is from Beth, who is sound number 3 here at Les Mis, and this kind of answers the assumption, are all of the departments in every show separated and segregated? No, because she is currently messaging me on Instagram to try and make me say that she's amazing in one of my YouTube videos. Beth, you are amazing. Thank you so much for all of your assumptions. I hope that this was informative in some kind of way. I really love talking about my job. I love talking about my industry and answering questions about it, because I'm so passionate about what I do, and I love that there are people who aren't necessarily part of the industry who are also so passionate about it because they maybe one day want to be part of it, or they just love it so much even from the outside that they love getting a glimpse of what's on the inside. So thank you for giving me a chance to share that with you, and maybe I'll do another one of these sometime. Thanks so much for watching, and I will see you very, very soon.